What's up, War Report family? Your man, Ike Jones. We are here, another morning drop. We're going to talk about the future of Auburn basketball and potential roster outlook for the next season, man. Bruce Pearl said he is already back out on the recruiting trail. So, what could the roster look like for this coming season? Y'all know how we do right here, War Report style. Let's drop it on.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
That is right. The War Report, the morning drop right here. Your man Ike Jones in here with B Will this Monday, March the 20th. We're talking Auburn basketball. The season is done. We're already looking forward to the next season, on to the next year. B Will, how you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good. I've come to terms with the performance of the basketball team and what the season was. I feel like I've seen people echo this. We probably overachieved a little bit. Getting to the round of 32, and then no, it's not the same as last year because last year I think we underachieved a little bit. We should have definitely been a Sweet 16 team with that talent. But this year, 32, hats off to him. I'm glad Bruce got back to the grind because that's what needs to happen to get us to the next level again. The grind, recruiting.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah, man, it's got to happen right now during the off season. Auburn should be off of their restriction as far as scholarships, so we should have a full complement of scholarship players on the roster next season. While you guys are here, make sure you're sharing the video. We want to get more people involved in the conversation. I know a lot of people are over basketball, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Share the video anyway. Get them out here so they can at least jump in on the conversation and tell us to shut up and move on to something else. Like the video right now and subscribe to the channel. We want to continue to grow the channel. We appreciate those of you who have already done the subscription thing. But let's get into this conversation a little bit more in depth. What I'm going to show you all is a graphic that shows all of the players that are currently on this team that still have eligibility left and are on scholarship. So this is not going to include anyone who is a walk-on. So when you don't see Leor Berman on here, know that it's because he is not currently a scholarship athlete, even though he does have another year of eligibility. All right. So what it's going to show is the name of the player as well as what classification they will be next season if they're with Auburn. All right. So let's take a look at this roster and tell me things that stand out to you. Right. So we've got guards, and what I list as a combo guard is a person that could play guard or a forward. So a big guard or a small forward. Then you have your true forwards, power forwards, and true centers here. Again, this is showing their year classification next season. Right. So Wendell Green would be a senior next year, KD Johnson senior, etc. Right. Gotcha. So 2 more scholarships available. What stands out to you as far as this roster is concerned? Oh, and the ones highlighted in the orange are seniors, but they would be super seniors next year, taking advantage of a COVID year if they did return on scholarship for Auburn.
Yeah. What stands out to me is how little depth we have at center. Janai Broome played a lot of center for us, but he's a little small for a center. And being a forward, you could probably get away with playing center if you have some athleticism, but he doesn't really have the athleticism. He doesn't leap well. He doesn't have the leaping ability that other centers have. Like Cardwell. Cardwell is actually more athletic than Janai Broome, but Janai Broome is far more skilled, which is why we could put him down there in the post and let him do some work for us. But he was often out of his depth as far as rebounding goes. He had some games where he definitely cleaned up the boards on the offensive glass. Defensive glass, kind of not so much. We didn't get those games like we got from a Walker Kessler, where it was like, all right, I caught 3 lobs. I had 2 easy cleanups around the basket because he's going to get like 10 and 12. We didn't get a lot of that from Janai Broome. His priority was scoring, and he was good at it. So I'm honestly not mad at it. Different skill sets. But we need some size in there, and some size that is more than just a defensive presence. We could probably get away with just a really good defensive presence, but we need to be very solid with the size that we have. We've been out-rebounded several times this season where that probably decided the game. We can't afford to have that again. I think we're always going to face teams in this league that are stout defensively, but may have some trouble scoring. And the difference, if that happens, or if we have trouble scoring, is get more possessions. That's it. Just get more tries. Rebound the ball. And if we don't have a pure rebounder anywhere on here, if Chris Moore is going to be a senior next year, I'm sure he'll be healthy going forward. He's really a a hustle defensive rebound, but
So I
he
mean,
does those
you
really
said
well.
you're sure he's going to be healthy. So thus far, are we sure about that? Like, is Chris Moore a little injury prone? Has he
I
had a
mean,
full season of health at Auburn?
I went okay. So I don't think he really had nearly as an opportunity to play nearly as many minutes last season. All
Because
right,
he was hurt.
is that why he didn't play last season?
Yes, he was hurt last year.
Wait, what was he hurt with last year?
I don't remember what the injury was, but he was out for a portion of the season last year due to injury, and that limited his availability.
I thought he just didn't push his way into the 2 deep.
Nope.
Okay. Hey, that's good info for me. So let me not say, I mean, a shoulder injury is tricky though. It's basketball, man. You're lifting your shoulder over your head all the time. I don't know if he's injury prone or he just got one injury. This season, it seemed like the shoulder kept getting
Yeah.
injured. It was one injury that, you know what I'm saying? I have no idea. I would be more worried about the guy if he had.
Wesley Hilson says shin splint / stress fractures was what held him out last year.
Oh, wow. But he didn't have any more of that this year.
No.
Or any lower body things. If it was consistent lower body injuries, I would probably be more concerned. The fact that it was a shoulder, they can tighten that up, rehab. You'll be back and going in 3-4 months. I'm not so worried about Chris Moore's availability. I do think he's definitely valuable. He's a true 4. He can defend 3, 4, 5, and do some good work on the defensive boards, offensive glass for us. I like him coming back, but we need size. We need size and size that inside that is going to be somewhat of a scoring threat as well as a defensive presence. You're not going to play big for Bruce unless you can play some defense. So we have to replace that. And size that can rebound. I think that's probably more critical than I know our wings are looking thin. We're looking thin at wing. It's a serious issue. We haven't had a scorer at wing since Chuma.
Okoro was dynamic, but he wasn't a scorer like that.
Right.
Yeah, he could score, but he wasn't a guy where you're like, oh, get us a bucket, and you felt really confident in the shot that he was going to give you.
Right. And I like that about Chuma. I like Okoro, though. It's like you come into these situations where are outstanding defensively, but are you a liability on the offensive end? No. And the same thing for Walker Kessler. Outstanding defensively, but are you a liability at the 5? No. He can make it happen. Your offense can run with him on the floor. And I think that's the same that we kind of found these situations with players here in the last couple of years where you're great at one thing, but when it comes to the other thing, I might not even be able to have you out there. Like the offense suffered when Cardwell was on the floor. And that's something like I can't trust you. He can get his hands on the board, but he might not be able to keep his hands on it and finish, or he's gonna gather and get too low instead of staying high to finish the ball. Things that should have been boards weren't boards. We lost possession. Things where he got the boards that should have been easy scores, they weren't. Now we're working it back out, trying to find the shot, and we don't shoot well enough to consistently score the ball in those situations. So we need whoever it's gonna be. We know Bruce is not gonna slack defensively, right? If you're going to come in here and start for Bruce, you're going to be sound defensively. Who is that going to be at the 5? It's got to be the portal because I don't think the 23 class, I don't think we have a 5 committed. I know the 24 class
for the 23 class is Aiden Holloway. Everybody else, we're gonna if we're going to get anybody new, it's gonna be via the transfer portal. So let's jump back to the graphic because I want to ask you another question about these highlighted names. Of those 3, how many of those 3 do you feel like return for a COVID year? Not what you think they should do, what you think is the likely scenario that they will do.
I think it's likely. The most likely outcome is that Jalen Williams comes back.
Okay.
And that's the only one. I think that's the most likely outcome. I think Flanigan probably goes. I don't know where Flanigan goes because if you're saying if he got evaluated by NBA scouts last year, and he heard enough to say, okay, I'm going to come back. He did play better towards the end of the season. But I still see things in Flanny's game where they're going to say, but that's not good enough to make the jump to the next level. Like he has the athleticism to get to the basket. He doesn't finish at a high enough percentage around the basket. It's like he's there, his body's there, he's going to get contact. He doesn't shoot free throws consistently enough for that to be a plus by itself. He needs to get there and finish. He doesn't finish around the rim that well. I want to say out of control. Sometimes him scoring looks out of control. I think it's just how his body looks when he's playing ball, though. I don't think he's out of control. I don't think he finishes consistently around the basket enough. And of course, his outside shot was hit or miss. It started to be hit. Now it started to hit towards the end of the season. And I think that's a plus, but that's 1 month out of like what, 4? And so if you're a scout, what do you make of Alan Flanigan? You see the defensive intensity. That's going to get you some looks. Consistently scoring, though. Like, I would still take an Okoro over a 1 year Okoro over a 4th year Alan Flanigan at this point. From what he's shown me on the floor, Okoro looked consistent and the ability to hit the outside shot, even somewhat consistently. Like, that whole team, though, I think a lot of that 1920 team. I think that's the issue with Flanigan is, has he shown enough to get to the NBA? No. Has he shown enough to get to the G League? Maybe.
So you think that at minimum we will have 4 scholarship spots available for Coach Pearl to go out here and go get somebody to fill out this roster a little bit more. Looking at this, I would say the wing and the big is where that roster spot availability should fill up. If we're going to get 2 to 4 players, that's where I would concentrate. We need 6'4" to 6'7", and then you want to go 6'8" to 7'1" even, right? Like you want to get bigs that are truly in there. I think we're good at the smaller end of the guard spectrum, but with Trey Donaldson coming on, Aiden Holloway coming in, and then you still have Wendell Green and Katie Johnson there. So last question I have for you before we get to the comments and get your comments ready on players that you feel like are not going to return for Auburn. And then we'll talk about some of the stuff that we feel like is available out there. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit. We might save that for another show about what we think they'll go and get based upon what's available right now. But of the names that are here in white boxes, which of those do you feel like will not be returning?
It's hard to make. I know I watched the show yesterday. I wasn't on, so I'll talk about Wendell Green's post right after the game. I know these guys are emotional after games, particularly after losses. And Ike, you've been there in post-game conferences, and you've commented on how hard Wendell in particular takes losses. He's caught a lot of the criticism, and I understand that for him, with how much work these guys put into it, but he's carrying a lot of the load as the point guard, and he has personally come up short in some situations. I don't think everything is on him, but
I just realized I don't have Johan Traore on this graphic though. And that's bad.
Oh yeah, that's a forward we got to put on there. We got to count for him. I think there's a chance. I wonder if that's something where Wendell was just reacting and his folks talk him off the cliff. You know what I mean? I wonder about that. Traore and Wendell would be the two where I go, all right, what are y'all gonna do? I think they're the two most likely to not be here that are in white. It's tough, man. It's tough because you see what Trey Donaldson did, and you think, all right, hey, we got somebody who can run things. Cool. He's taller, more physical. He's got some growth to do because, of course, he didn't actually get practice running the offense like Wendell did. He didn't get late game shots like Wendell did. So we don't really know what we're getting as far as a guard who's going to carry us late in the game. But Traore is pretty easy because he didn't do much at all this season. He didn't get much burn at all. So you got to wonder, all right, do you want to come back? That's the first question. Are you bought in? Like we saw Chance Westry say, hey, I didn't get a chance to get it this year. My knee was hurt. But he's itching to get back out there for this team. He's definitely rooted in this team. Traore, we don't know that. We haven't heard from Traore. I can't wait to get back out there. I see what I need to work on. I see how I'm growing. I'm ready to make that leap next season. We haven't seen that from Traore. We've seen that. We've heard that. That was actually an interview I think AL.com did it on Westry. But for Traore, we don't know. So if we can count on Westry, sure. Traore, I don't know. And you wonder, all right, well, what are we getting from him if he does stay? Or what would we be losing if he left? No idea. I think he's a developmental piece. And I'm sure Bruce is cool developing guys. Bruce loves developing guys. But does Traore have the intangibles, the I'm going to get it no matter what? Is he going to be committed defensively to being a better player? Who knows? And if he's not up for that challenge or he feels like another opportunity somewhere is going to be a better immediate returns for him, I can see him leaving. Traore and Wendell are the ones I think probably least likely to come back of the guys not in orange.
Okay. All right. Well, we definitely want to hear from the comment section here on what you guys think about people returning, people leaving, all of that. So we are going to get into that here in just a second. But we know what we're not going to do. We're not going to leave you without a little rogue shop. We're going to make
Okay.
sure that you
Okay.
guys are ready to get all of your herbal supplement needs taken care of. America's #1 online dispensary is the Rogue Shop. Head over to rogueshop.com using code REPORT to get a percentage off of your purchase. Make sure you use that code to let them know that we sent you there, and we appreciate that. But we are going to get into the comment section here and hear your thoughts on next year's team. Who are the people who you all think will not be returning, the people who you are expecting to have a good season next year, all of that stuff. But we will start here with Michael Carlisle saying, Ike, we need size.
Yeah, we do.
He thinks that the roster just doesn't have enough size on it. What are your thoughts about this, B. Will?
I mean, it's bore itself out. I think we were. It's weird, right? We had a lot of size last year, not at the guard position, which is really where I think we probably needed more size because we won one game and then we were out of the tournament. But about tournament play with the size that we had last year, we won the SEC with a lot of size last year, and that's the difference. I know a lot of people like to measure by postseason success, and I'm one of those people as well. I do think it means something, but we won the regular season SEC title with the size that we had. It's because we had an absolute monster in the middle, defending, getting rebounds, and getting some easy buckets for us. So yes, we need size. I would love to see some at the guard position and at the 5. Is that size available? Bruce has done a good job recruiting a big man. Like Janai Broom's technically a 4, but he was worth the scholarship. Absolutely. Him coming in here, and the same thing with Walker Kessler the year before. 2 transfers, that immediate impact. You could say, while not our best player, I still maintain Walker Kessler was our most important player of 2021 and the 21-22 season. And now Janai Broom, where would we be without his presence down low and his scoring this year? He's done it in the portal 2 years in a row. When it came to a big man, I think Bruce needs to go do it again. Get us one.
Yep. Leanne jumps in and says, I think Flan goes whether it's the portal or the G League. Thinks that he is out of here.
Yeah, I could see it. I wonder, I don't know, like your dad's here and you got a spot here. Why would you give that up? If you still need to develop, why would you leave? What is there to get out there that's better than what you got here?
I mean, maybe it's the portal. So, it's difficult with one of those situations. And I'll say this about him and Wendell Green, when you feel like you're getting a lot of undue criticism. And this is, I always relate this to the Bo Nix. I forever will call this the Bo Nix effect now, of where you feel like you're getting too much criticism. You are, the coach's son in Flanagan's situation. And maybe a fresh start is just what you need to be able to get out there and enjoy the game a little bit more. And then in Wendell's situation, just the constant criticism. I mean, the guy was second team all SEC this year, and people were acting like he's some scrub that can't hoop.
Yeah.
And he took a lot of criticism for things that, he did, right? Like, it's not as if he didn't do those things, but it's, I think, to act as if he's not a good basketball player, considering what he did from an assist standpoint, what he was doing from a scoring standpoint, leading the team in scoring for the vast majority of the season. I think it's just kind of crazy to distill him down to his bad moments without giving him credit for the good ones, which there were way more good moments than there were bad. So, I think those would be the only reasons why I could see either of them walking away. But hopefully that is not the case for either, because I'd like to see both of those young men come back.
For sure.
Michael Carlisle jumps back in and says, love Trey next year at PG.
I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that. The only thing I worry about with Trey is Holloway's a small guard. He's like 6 feet, 6'1". I'm not sure. So if Trey's running point, I don't know if Holloway is a certified point guard. I know he's a shooter. Like that's been borne out on every clip I've seen of him. He is shooting very well. However, Trey, I don't know what's Trey's role if Holloway is your point.
I don't know that Trey plays well as an off guard, but what I saw from Trey in those 2 games in the tournament, if he can shoot like that consistently,
right,
please come do that again for 20-some games next season, sir.
Yeah.
If we can get 20 games of him shooting that well, I know there's more than 20 games in the season. I'm just saying, but if we can get 20 games of that kind of productivity in the regular season from him, we'll automatically be a better team just because you can't leave him. So, and he has the quickness to get to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah. Bruce got to find a way to make that work.
Yeah. Kathy Ferguson jumps in and says, I love Trey. He might get taller over the summer. This is a distinct possibility. He is a true freshman. Some kids don't stop growing until they're 19, 20 years old. So he could, come back next summer 6'2", 6'3", who
That'd
knows?
Be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves comes back and he can already jump. So like if he puts another 2 inches on, bro, like
that's cool.
That could be scary. Flan is gone. Stretch will probably go. Of those people on that graphic, I do think that Stretch is the most likely to not come back just because he wasn't getting playing time this year and we clearly needed when Dylan Cardwell was hurt and Janai Broom was starting at center and came out of the game. He went to Johan Traore instead of Stretch to give us big man minutes. In the Alabama game, everybody fouled out and he went to a small ball lineup with Chris Moore at the 5 rather than giving Stretch minutes. I see absolutely no reason that if Stretch wants to play one more year of college basketball, that he would do it at Auburn.
I mean, it might be a situation where they go to him. It's like, hey, man, listen, appreciate you. It's been great. But the old football conversation after the spring, like, you're not going to get to play here. We need that scholarship. Why don't we find somewhere for you to go? And, he goes ahead and finds somewhere else.
Yeah, like I said, if he wants to use that COVID year, I'm not seeing a reason why he would do it here because he's clearly not going to get any minutes. Like it is abundantly clear. You had opportunities, even if it was just in scrub duty to get minutes. Like they emptied the bench and put in Chandler Leopard or whatever his name is before they put Stretch. Like he just never got in the game, dog. Like ever. Yeah. I don't know. Like I just don't know why he would stay. So Michael Carlisle thinks all 3 go: Jalen, Flan, and Stretch. I think Jalen might come back. I'm with you. Of the 3, I think Jalen is the most likely to return, just because I think he has the most to work on, and I honestly think he has the biggest pro potential of the 3 based upon just his already unique set of skills and abilities. I mean, I think that he's the most of the best pro prospect based upon what he's shown on the court. I think Alan Flanagan is the biggest pro prospect based upon what his ceiling is, just because of his athleticism. He already has a little bit better handle on the ball. He already plays better defense, in my opinion. I think he just needs to show it a little bit more consistently on the floor post injury. I think Alan Flanagan probably has the highest ceiling as a pro, but Jay Will is probably the most pro ready of the 3 if you were to ask me today. But I think Jay Will is the most likely to come back because Alan Flanagan has that high ceiling. I could see him go again, test the waters and see whether or not it makes more sense for him to go G League or for him to come back on some sort of situation where he's getting some NIL deal or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
Haley jumps in and says, we need a bucket getter. There are plenty of people who echo this sentiment. Anthony Rudd said I want certified snipers, at least 2 kids that can knock down about 39% of threes. 39% is
That's high. That's high. 35 would be great.
Yeah. 39. If we have 2 guys that shoot 39%, depending upon what clip they shoot the ball, like how many threes they're taking per game, then we have turned into the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, for real.
Like they're just that's a very unusual thing to have 2 kids at the D1 level, unless they're not taking a lot of threes, right? Like unless somebody who they're only really taking 2 threes a game, right? And they come in and they make one like. But if you're a volume shooter and you're shooting 39% from 3, that's deadly.
Yeah.
That's deadly. James Barnett jumps in and says, fellas, are the current guys that we have at the guard position fix our guard play for next year, or we still try the portal?
Well, it depends on if Wendell comes back. I see Tony Costanza right here saying that saw Wendell took Auburn off his social media bios. That's kind of telltale for this day and age when
Yeah,
athletes are
so
on
he
social
did,
media.
but then he later went and put something up about Auburn on, this thing, and he still has it on his Twitter. I don't want to overreact to social media bio stuff.
Yeah,
Um, that does mean I think that he's thinking about what his options are, but the question are,
Mhm.
what are his options, right? Like,
Right.
where would he go? Where could he go? What kind of looks would he have out there? I think again that speaks more to him being frustrated than that speaks to finality of a decision right now.
I got you. I can agree with that. I so if Wendell goes, then honestly, I don't know how we can't be high on KD right now. His last, similar to Flanagan, he's blossomed his last month or so. Now, unlike Flanagan, I think he has probably less hitches in his game. Flanagan's going to be looking for the next level because he was looking at the next level last year. He made a last minute decision along with Cardwell that, okay, I'll come on back because he wanted to develop some more. KD actually developed. He got better. So the same aggression, but like you were talking about on broadcast, he's learning how to control it. He's learning how to control that aggressiveness. We saw him get to the line. We saw him shoot. What did he shoot in the game? I don't remember. I think KD was knocking him down. I can't remember. I know Broom and Flanagan missed a lot, but
As far as what, free throws?
free throws is what I mean.
He missed one free throw in the game. He hit the rest of them that he had, I believe. In
Okay.
the game.
So listen, KD has turned into the last minute, no short of confidence. I got this guy, which he was last year, but now he's actually hitting those shots. And he seems to be doing a better job of controlling his emotions in the game and learning how to focus his emotions into playing well. I want KD back. Now, is it a bench role again? I don't know. I don't know if it's a bench role. Has he earned himself some starting minutes now? I don't know because
I
now
mean,
you
that's a
have
good
to.
question. I mean, when you look at the guards that we have, if the senior Wendell comes back, sophomore Trey comes back, who are your starting guards? Because Zep Jasper was the other starting guard for Auburn, right?
Mhm.
Do you put Trey at the one and let Wendell be the off guard and let him, be, or do you put Trey at the one and let KD come in and be your off guard and bring Wendell off the bench like you were last year, and you then have Wendell as your closer again, right?
Mhm.
I think that that's a possibility. I don't think unless Holloway comes in and he is that one and done type of talent, I don't think he comes in and usurps any of those guys for starter minutes.
Yeah,
Or do you let Chance Westry come in and be your two guard,
I think
right?
he's got a good shot at being a two
The
based on his
question
size.
still is, Wendell Green as a starting point. You go big with a Chance Westry, and then you go even bigger with a Jalen at 3 or Semo at 3, and then you have Janai Broom at 4, Trey Orr if he matures at 4, then Janai Broom at 5, right? Like you have a lot of
Mhm.
things that you could do, but I still think that you need to get another big. I'm very big on Breakfield from Ole Miss coming in 6'7", can shoot the ball from the outside. You insert him as a starting 3 on that team, and you
Mhm.
have Janai Broom at 4, get another big at 5, your roster looks way different, and then you still have that depth that Bruce Pearl likes to have.
Right,
You just need another big man if Dylan Cardwell decides that he doesn't want to return.
right, right.
So I don't know, a lot of opportunities out here to make some differences. I I don't think we're as far away as people like to complain that we are
Yeah,
with the roster that we have. When you look at the seniority that we're going to have coming back on that roster as well.
yeah. Basketball, I
Problem for
think
me
what
is going to be
one
the
do.
year after that because you're going to lose a lot of minutes.
Yeah, you know what? We need some utility guys coming in here because that's
Yeah.
something that Bruce is. What we've gotten out of high school mostly is all of the foundational utility guys, and then you go to get one or two pieces to kind of fill in a gap. But now it's going to kind of be the other way around. We got two dynamic guards committed for the 24 cycle, along with a big man, right? So that's there. But okay, who's playing perimeter defense for us?
Right.
In 20, like I have no idea because all those guys are going to be gone. Jep's
Right.
gone.
I mean,
Flanagan
you
is
still
definitely
have
going to be
Chance
gone.
Westry, who unless he has a dynamic
Right.
year, will be coming back. Trey Donaldson should be coming back.
Yeah.
But once you get past that, you're gonna have some situations that you got to figure out. So
Right.
Patrick R jumps in here and says we need a good shooting guard, a playmaker. So a lot of people
We do.
thinking that the shooting guard is a big thing. I do too. I think we need another big guard that's a playmaker, a la Alan Flanagan, maybe with a little bit better outside proficiency. Wesley Hilson, my understanding is that he had to graduate to transfer due to his visa. Speaking of stretch, so you know that's probably the only reason he remained on the team this year is that he needed to be a grad transfer. P-Pass jumps in and says Wendell Green is a good floor general. Love his heart. The SEC may have adjusted to him, though. I think the issue for me with Wendell is going to be the outside shot. If he can shoot it at a little higher proficiency, then he's going to be just fine, because I think the rest of the things that he provides, he can still do those things in spades. But he just needs to be able to hit that outside shot a little bit better. Also, I think that we have to figure out something different besides pick and roll offense for him, because it's pretty easy to just hedge on the pick and roll and force the ball out of his hand. Unless he's able to really get downhill. If they're not going to hedge, then he's going to be great. As soon as they hedge, he becomes ineffective because of his height. So just think that when he's in the game, we have to figure out a different way to get him involved in the offense.
Agreed.
We'll take one more here. Anthony Rudd says, do you think Aiden is D1 ready?
I mean, he looks it. However, I mean, how do you ever know? There are guys who stunt in high school and then get to the pro. I mean, look at Trey Orr right now. Like, did we think that he wasn't going to be ready for D1? No, we didn't think that. But we don't know until guys get here, man. Some guys end up being Jabaris, end up being I mean, I know he plays for the other team, but Brandon Miller. Like, these are the types of finds you hope you get when you see that 5-star rating, is a guy who's willing to come in and he can look the way he looked, a man amongst boys in high school. He can do it in college. We don't know until they get on the floor and get in the system, and then that's when we know. So Bruce is just, hopefully he's got to hit. Hopefully he's going to hit with Holloway.
We will definitely see. I think there's a lot to be determined here with this roster, but I do trust Coach Pearl is going to come in and make some things shake. Hopefully have a little bit better luck this offseason than we had last offseason, with people coming in and staying in the fold. So we will definitely see. All right, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys dropping in with us this morning. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with somebody. As always, the Morning Drop is sponsored by Rogue Shop. Head over to rogueshop.com, America's #1 online dispensary, using code RAPPORT. We will see you all again tomorrow on another Morning Drop. Until then, until the next time, as always, it's War Eagle. We're out of here. Peace.
Drop!